There we go. Okay. So today is Tuesday, November 18, 2025, and I'm with Clarence Holland at the McDowell Senior Center. And can you tell me where and when you were born?
Where and when I was born?
Mm-hmm.
I was born in McDowell County in 1924.
In what community in McDowell?
In August the 7th, 1924, about 5 miles out of town, down towards Dysartville. And I lived on a 54, my daddy owned a 54-acre farm, and we farmed it all. And we raised corn, wheat, and all. And a lot of times we'd load up about 4 or 5 bushel of wheat and 4 or 5 bushel of corn and take to the mill and have it ground into flour and meal. And a lot of times we raised our own corn. We didn't have we had a cow pasture, but we didn't have no grass in it, and we had to take the cows down between the corn and down next to the branch, and so the cows could eat the grass. And I know I shouldn't tell this, but maybe it'll help somebody. Daddy told me to go down there and help them to mind the cows. And I said, I just a little boy. I said, I'll not do it. And when I seen him make a dive towards a peach tree, I knowed he was coming on. So he run down there and caught me pretty good little ways down the road. I was going down there. He caught me. He turned me around. He whooped me. He whooped me all the way back. And he turned me back around. I think, oh, Lord, is he going to whoop me back down there? He said, are you going back down there and have a mind the cows? I said, yes, sir. Because I knowed he'd whoop me again if I didn't. Because Daddy promised to whoop you. You could just back up. He'd wait till you got to bed, pull the cover down and whoop you. Now, we could run from Mama and stay away from her about 10 or 15 minutes. It'd be all well. She'd forget about it. Oh.
And what were your parents' names?
My daddy's name is Frank Holland, and my mama's name is Hattie Von Holland.
And did you have siblings?
Oh yeah, there's 12 of us. Wow. Yeah, I was thinking there's 3 younger than me, and I'm 101 now.
And what did y'all do for fun? Did you have what did you all do for fun growing up?
Do what?
What did you all do for fun growing up?
I can't understand you.
Where did you go to school?
I went to Glenwood School. About 11 years, but I just finished 8th grade. Now, I didn't like nothing in my 8th grade but math. I love math. I passed on it and I failed everything. I think I had 4 different subjects: English, math, science, and arithmetic. But I love arithmetic more than any of it. But I remember this time we had an old, he was a German for our 8th grade, I think, science teacher. And he went out one day and we went and locked the door. Locked the door on. I don't think they can't do nothing about it now because it's been so many years ago. We locked the doors on him, and we wouldn't let him get back in till the bell rung for change classes. But we let him in about the time the class bell rung for change classes, and I had 4 subjects. Math, English, and history, and science in the 8th grade. And the 8th grade, as long as I went, I didn't go on and finish.
And what was your first job?
My first job, I went to work at a sawmill. I was making 10 cents an hour. A lot of people may not be that, but you take about 70 years ago or 80 years ago, you didn't pay much. And I quit the sawmill, 10 cents an hour, and I went to work at Drexel, making 30 cents an hour. Boy, I thought I was rich then. Well, I was. 30 cents an hour back then was a lot of money. And I worked at Drexel Raw Hill for about, I'd say around 32 years. I quit Drexel. I went to work at Henry Don and Morganton. I worked down there 2 years. And I didn't like that driving all that way every day. So I quit down there and went to work at air preheater. I forgot. I believe I started out about 70 cents an hour in air preheater. I worked there 16 years, and it was shutting down, going to move out west. And I come 62 on Thursday, and they laid me off. They laid me off on Friday. So that's been, I don't know how many years ago. I've never worked. I've loafed ever since then, and I've enjoyed it. But
What is a normal day like for you now? You said you loafer. What are your days? What do you enjoy now doing?
I enjoy coming up here to the senior citizen and being the fellowship is almost as better than a meal. I like the fellowship with these people up here. They're nice people. Well, they've got to be nice people in here. And I just love it. And I love I'm 101-year-old now. 101-year-old now. And I'm living by myself. I lived with my first wife 64 years and a half. And she died. And I waited 3 years. I think it's 3 years. And I married this other lady. And we lived together 12 years. And she died on me. And I've been single ever since. I don't think I'll marry again. I don't want to marry another one. 2 died, and I don't want another one to go through that, because that's terrible to have to go through that. But I just like to come up here and be with the friends and all, because I'm at home, I'm alone. Sometimes it gets lonesome there, though. But I've got I guess I call you a house lady. She comes in 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, and cleans my house for me and all like that. And I've got here lately, I tend to go down to countryside and eat my supper for about, that went off. That
There we are.
I ate my supper for about three times a week. And the reason I can eat so many times a week, a lot of times a lot of people will pay for mine. You know, because I'm a World War II veteran, and they'll pay for mine, which I appreciate that. I appreciate them doing that. And
Do you want to talk about that at all? Going to war?
huh?
Do you want to talk about your?
Well,
How did?
I was in the, I was on the ship. I was in the Navy, and I was on the ship, and I tried to make this man stand up in the crow's nest on watch. He wouldn't do it. I said, well, I'll report you up. I said, I'll show you. I'll make you go up in that crow's nest. So I went to my first class petty officer and asked him, I said, he refused to go up in the crow's nest and be a watchman. He said, well, says you can't make him go. Said he's just a second class seaman. He said he's got to be a first class seaman before you can put him up in the crow's nest to be a watch. So then I realized I need to get my book and read up what I could do and what I couldn't do then. That learned me a lesson. So I got my book and start reading because I got a third class petty officer job. And I thought I'd read it. I hated that man. That's going to make him stand up to that watch. But, you know, after that, me and him come the best friend they ever was. But I realized I need to learn what I could do and what somebody else could do. And that taught me a good lesson. I never try to do nothing till you find out whether you can do it or not. And when I was coming back out of service, they offered me another rating, which had been a second class petty officer, and 30 days leave and $100 money. Back in, $100 is worth thousands now. And I went home 3 months. I went home. I wished I'd stayed. I went back to see if I could join back up with. I said, yeah, you can join back up. Says you'll have to start all over again, though. I said, nope, I won't do it. But after I've got older, I wished I'd have went ahead and started back over. Cause I could still work 20 years and was retired at 20 years and been drawing a good pension then. But I didn't know that. The older you get, it seems like the more you learn.
Were there a lot of people from Marion who went with you for World War II?
There was a lot of people from Marion went to the service at the same time I did, and they wasn't but a few of us went for the Navy, and we had one man. They turned him down, wouldn't take him, told him he's too light-headed. So he come back home and said, Mama, boy, I'm glad my hair wasn't no darker than what it was, so Dad took me to the yard. What it was, he was a little bit crazy like. He wasn't talking about his hair. He was lightheaded. That meant he's a little bit off. And I went on to the service. I took my training in Bainbridge, Maryland. And I went through the Panama Canal, come back down to Virginia and caught on a ship, went through the Panama Canal. You know, I didn't know that Panama, one of them oceans is higher than the other. That's why they fixed that gates. That you go in it and they pump the water and raise you up and go in another and pump your water and go into that. I learned a lot right off the bat on that. I tell you what, you could learn a lot if you just go in the service. And after we got out of land, I'm sure it was 21 days without seeing any land till we got into Pearl Harbor. We got into Pearl Harbor, and I enjoyed it over there. I've got a How Are You girls picture. I've carried all these years. I've carried them in my pocketbook all these years. And we went out, we'd tuck one island over and we'd come back and we'd dock down there at YPO Point. That's just a little ways down the river from Pearl Harbor. And I don't know whether I ought to tell this or now. That's when I got in trouble. I had the Liberty Run, driving the boat, taking them up from YPO Point to Pearl Harbor. And I started at 7 o'clock that night. By 12 o'clock, every time I brought a load back, they would call me up in front and give me a little drink of liquor, to be honest with you. And by 11 o'clock that night, I pretty well talked. And they had a little incident. He wanted to take that boat over. I said, oh, no. I said, you might be an officer in a high-ranking man, but I said, I'm in charge of this boat now. I showed my authority then, which I should have. I realize now I shouldn't let him take it. And I went on in, and I was drunk, and I thought I was pulling up the side of a admiral's barge. I didn't. I hit that admiral barge straight solid in the center of that boat. I sunk it.
Oh, no.
The rope was always holding it up. And I know there was trouble then. Next morning, the officer called me up there to his desk room. And I had a wonderful officer. I wished I'd have got his name and address and wrote him after I got home how much I really appreciated him. Because I said, well, would you go up there and see what that admiral, how I could come out with it? He said, yeah. So there's one or two ships docked in between us. He walked up there and went up there, and he come back and said, well, since you pay for it, have it fixed. I said, well, had him go back up there and find out how much it was. He said, yeah, I'll go up there. And he found out $330. $330, like nearly $1 million here, then, now. And then, well, I said, I ain't got that much. Because I always sent money home to my mom and daddy. And I said, would you go up there and pay him and let me wire home for money? He said, I'll do that. So he went up there and paid him. I wired home. A few weeks, my daddy and them sent me $330. I think that's what it was. And I gave it to him. But you know, you can learn a lot. They could have put me on the firing squad because it was a court-martial offense being drunk on duty. See, I was on duty. I was hauling them people up there. I had about 25 and 30, about each load. And my boat, taking them up there and bringing them back. And I said, I'll never do that again if I get out of this trouble. Do you know, they never even busted my rate, took my rate away. They never even fined me. Do nothing. Which they should have. I was a third class penalty. They should have took my license away from third class to back to first class seaman. But they didn't. And here, I've thought about that here more lately. I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd never had done that to begin with, and I should have took that money and paid them. Oh, I can't, but when I come back out of service, I was homesick. I wanted to come home, and I wished I'd have stayed. I went back, but they wouldn't.
How old were you?
I was, I first went in at 19. And I come out 19, 20, 21, 22. 22, I believe. Or maybe 23. I won't say for sure, because I was going with this girl, and me and her was going to walk to town that night. It'd been about 2 miles, and we was going to the picture show. So, and her niece was older than she was. She was more my age. She says, "Can I go with you?" I said, "Yeah, I don't care." And Ella Mae said, "Oh, I don't care." So she went to town. We walked up our town about 2 miles, and we got home, and she lived a little bit before my niece that I was going with. She go down there, so she walked on down there with us. So coming back, I felt something in the back of my britches back there, and I felt back there. She had her finger hooked in my britches loop. She said, "You ain't gonna run off and leave me." I forgot all about that. Telling her I was gonna run off and leave her. And we got all up there, and they just lived about here. I was about 30 feet off the highway. And I just got on the porch with them. We talked. We decided I'd ditch her and go with her. So I started going with her in about a month and a half, 2 months. We got married.
Oh, wow.
Ella Mae said, "Well, I didn't get him for a husband, said I got him for an uncle." And me and her, we lived together for, I think it's 64 years and a half. And she died. And about 3 years later, I'd started going to the senior citizen where we're at now. And I seen this lady. She was sitting over at table number 5, and I was sitting at 1. It just maybe 8 or 10 foot apart, maybe not hardly that much. I said, I wish I could get to talk to her, because the woman that she is sitting by, I was going with her. And I said, if asked Beulah to go with her, and she said no. She'd say she'd make a laughing stock of me. I said, boy, you think you can get anybody you want, can't you? So I told this other woman. So she went and told her, says, you go down to Woody's. That's down there where they play the music. No, sometimes some of them dance. She said, I might do it Friday night. And she come told me, says, you always go up there Friday night. Said that she's going to be up there. I had no idea going with her, though. I'd took a blonde up there. And we're sitting back on the back row. And Beulah come in that door up there. I never have had my heart to jump like it did. I thought the heart was going to jump out when she come in. I loved her. Just by looking at her, I loved her. And I went over. There's a bunch of chairs are between us. I didn't go around them. I just jerked him back out of the way and went up there. I said, can I sit with you? She said, yeah. And I sat with her. I never even looked back at that blonde. She told somebody, I got the word, she told somebody I love cheer hopper. And but you know, in about a month or month and a half, something like that, about probably a month, me and her got married. We got started going on Wednesday to these picnic grounds. She'd fix supper or dinner, and we'd eat. And we went together maybe 8 or 10 months. And then I popped the question. She said, well, I don't know. I said, let's wait a while. I said, all right, we'll wait a while. We was down at the depot. The back end had dances on Friday night. And I said, all right then. And I took her home. And we'd, on Saturday, I drive up to her house. She lived up towards Old Fort, and I lived, it's about 5 or 6 miles apart. And I'd drive my car up there. And sometimes I'd take mine on Saturday, and we'd go to Asheville, go on the park, walk around and all. And I'd ask her to marry me, and she said, no, let's wait a while. And so she stopped up there while we was in the park. She said, you know, we're wasting mighty precious moments now, don't you? I said, right then is my time. That's the time for me to answer. She's ready. So she was driving her car that weekend, and I said, next filling station you come to, I'll have her stop, and I'll ask her to marry me. She's sort of like me. She drove pretty fast. So every time we pass a filling station, she doesn't be past it. So we got down there to where we'd parked the car and we switched cars. And I asked her. She said, yeah. And we'd gone back to come up here to the senior citizen that day. And she said the next day, or Monday, and she said, you know, we've not set a date or find out what time we could go to the courthouse and get married. I said, well, I got to pass the courthouse going home. I said, I'll just stop. And I stopped at the courthouse, and that man told me, said, yes, said, you can come just anytime you come up there, said, we'll marry you. And about this time, this lady come from the other room in there, She said, "Is this another old shotgun wedding?" And you know me, I'm always a jokey person. I said, "Yeah." I thought I'd never get her to come down. She said, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that." I said, "No, we ain't. It ain't no shotgun wedding." I said, "We're both single and we're both great to get married and all like that. And it ain't no," and I said, "She's too old." Anyway, and we went up. I went on home and we went back up there then. That's Saturday, I believe it was. She come in there. "Yeah, I know you." Said, "I know." Said, "I know you." But you know, she was the one that's gonna marry us. She was the one that's gonna marry us. So my niece and her daughter was going with us. And my niece's husband said, "I want to go with his. I want to go with him when he is married." I told him it'd be all right, which I'm glad he did, because when she got us married, she asked me to pray. I said, "Norman, would you pray?" I said, "I'm so nervous I can't pray." And we got married and we lived together. We come to senior, still come to senior citizens up here all that time. And one evening, it'd been about 12 years. We was just sitting there at the house, and I said, "Honey," I said, "I better go down and check the mail, see if we got any mail. If we wouldn't, I wouldn't be gone by about maybe 5 minutes." And I come back, she was waving her hand like that. She couldn't speak, and she'd vomit, and she'd had a stroke. So I called her son and her daughter in the EMS, and they come. Yesterday, she's had a stroke, and she went to the hospital. I took her to the hospital. She had another stroke. I said, "There's something wrong with having a stroke like that quick." And they sent her on to Asheville, and they found out here in the bend of her arm, she had a blood clog. So they took that blood clog out. She never did come out of that. She stayed in the rest home, I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks. Pretty good while. And she died out there. And that's been 6 months ago. I've been by myself ever since. I'll never get married again. Two's enough. But I still come up here to the senior citizens need because the fellowship is so good up here. You can't hardly help from coming back if you ever come up here one time.
I'm back. And
You need to. If you ever come one time, meet these women, men, a few men, they're more women than are. They just so friendly. I love them all.
And you mentioned other places you used to go, Woody's and the Depot. Were there other places in Marion you liked to go that may not be here anymore? I like to go to Woody's when it was open.
Do what now?
I used to go to Woody's, and that was fun, but it's closed. And the Depot.
Yeah. I used to have dances down there on a Friday night.
And Old Fort.
She started coming down there when I started going with her. And she didn't know how to dance. So I taught her how to dance, and she loved to dance. I don't know how she found out. They said, now that place down yonder in Morgan, or no, right this side of Glen Alpine, it'll have dances. So we'd go down there on a Saturday night.
Did you dance growing up?
Yeah.
What were those like?
Huh?
When you were young?
No, I never did dance till after I was grown, married. I still dance once in a while. I'm 101.
It's fun, yeah.
Yeah.
And how, so in 101 years, how have you seen McDowell change?
Oh, I've seen McDowell change in my lifetime a lot. Back then, neighbors was neighbors. Oh, I was at this, we had went to one of her cousins. Is going to stay there for a week. It's out of town. And we went to church that Sunday morning. Preacher got up. He said, all right, you men. Said, so-and-so, called his name. He says he's laying down in the bed sick. Said his garden and everything needs hoeing out. All his corn, his beans, and everything like that needs hoeing out. She said, I want to see every one of you down there in his garden Monday morning. Monday morning, they was down there. You don't see that no more. You can't hire somebody to work for you like that. But back then, it was, you had neighbors, you had neighbors. They'd do anything for you. And now you can't get one to, you can't pay them to come do something for you now.
Do you remember your neighbors from when you were young?
My neighbors? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember my neighbors.
Oh, who were they?
Yeah, they'd come over to the house. I remember, I don't guess you remember when they growed wheat and they had this wheat machine. It cut this wheat out and it separate the grain and all. I'd rake the chaff off of it to keep it, to get to go to houses and eat. Man, when they fed them people, they give you the best. And it was good back then. About everybody would kill a chicken. I'd break chaff just to get to go eat. But neighbor, we ain't got no neighbors now like we used to have. So I don't even know my neighbor's name.
Is there anyone in particular in McDowell that you've looked up to?
Do what now?
Is there anyone particular in McDowell that you've looked up to that's had a big influence on you?
Not as I know of.
Yeah. What would you want future generations to know about McDowell County?
What now?
What would you want future folks to know about living in McDowell?
Want to know what now?
Let me think of a different way to say it. What do you hope future people or anyone remembers about?
Well, I hope wish it would get back like it used to be. Neighbors would be neighbors. Neighbors ain't neighbors now. I got one neighbor. He lives back behind me that I know. The rest of them I don't know. One down right in front of me, right across the road from me. I don't know him. And one that's turned right where I turned up into my house. I don't know them. The one that lives behind me, he moved out there just a little bit before I did. He's the only one I know. And I've got plenty. I live on the Ridge Road at Clinchfield. I used to know everybody out on that Ridge Road. I don't know nobody out there now.
Would you just see them passing, or how did you know them?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know them. I see them in passing. I still don't know them.
What advice would you give to young people in McDowell?
I'd advise young people to be more friendly and to learn more of your neighbors. I think you'd have a better settlement in there. Like I used to be. I used to know everybody. The Ridge Road's about, I'd say 1.5 miles, 2 miles long. And I used to know everybody on that road. I don't know nobody out there now. Not one of my neighbors there.
How do you want to be remembered?
Well, I want to be remembered as friendly, happy, which I am. I'm happy because the Lord's given me 101 years. I've had good health. I'm 101. I still drive my car. And I don't know how much longer I've got to live, but, there was 12 of us young ones. Out of the 12, I'm the only one living. All the rest of them is dead. And all my neighbors that I know is dead. And a lot of them that come up here at Senior Citizen is dead since I started coming. Because I've been coming up here about 12, maybe 13 years. No, I've been coming over here a little over that. Because I called tables about 12 years. And I gave it to Jim, the one that's calling them now.
Well, what's your secret?
Right.
What's your secret?
My secret? All I can say is Lord. He's the one to take care of me.
101 years.
And the reason I give it to him, my wife was in the autumn care. And I want to get out there quick as I eat. And if you're calling tables, you're the last one to eat. You're the last one to go anywhere. So I give it to him so I could get on out there quicker, see my wife. And she'd been dead about 6 months now.
What did she have a job what did she do before she retired?
Well, she didn't do nothing after we got married. She used to run a 3-point service station way back yonder years ago. And she worked at Broad Hill Furniture Factory for years.
And what did your first wife do?
My first wife never did work.
She kept the house.
She told my neighbor, said, I'm going to marry me a good man, and said, I'm going to quit work. And I said, well, she done one thing. She married me I'm not a good man. But she never, well, she did work at Drexel Furniture Company till she married me. And she bought a fine coat, beautiful coat, long coat. I think she gave about $60 for it. And just gonna make payments on it. And then got married. I had.
So you bought a nice
I
coat.
bought, I bought the I bought the coat for her, but she was a good woman. Now I'd have to say that. We lived together 64 years and a half.
And did you have children?
No, we never did have no children.
You had a full life.
I had a full life. Yeah, I've had a full life. Now I've got. Well, I better not tell them. Well, I can tell my stepson. I love him. Me and him gets along wonderful. We go down to Morganton to AJ's and eat, and different places like that and eat. Me and him just like brothers. Actually, I took him. He works out there next to that auto place. I take her, my wife's son, out there. She got 2 letters, and I always take them out there and give them to him, cause he was her. What was the garden name you put?
Oh,
I think so.
Guardian.
Anyhow, like I got my niece over me.
Right.
She didn't write my name or anything like that.
Yeah.
And me and him just like brothers. We love him. And actually, he takes me a lot of places my niece don't. Now, here the other Saturday night, when Billy Graham's grandson was going to speak up there at that church towards your fort, he was one that took me up there. My niece didn't go. Her husband said no, he didn't want to go. They wouldn't go, but stepson took me. So they take me a lot of places.
Is there anything you thought we would talk about that we didn't?
No, I think we talked about everything.
Just about everything. Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
community here. And I'm going to press stop. Oop. I'm going to type in here. There we go. We'll finish.